Hey, what's going on, movie lovers all over the world? You already know who it is. It's your favorite internet sweaty, your boy Mikey Savage 21, bringing you another movie review. And today we're going to be looking at the 2017 American Christmas comedy film known as A Bad Mom's Christmas, which serves as a sequel to Bad Moms, which came out last year in 2016. And the film features once again Mila Kunis, Kristen Bell, and Kathryn Hahn reprising their roles from the first film, with the newly added cast of Kristen Baranski, Cheryl, Hines, and Susan Sarandon. So basically what A Bad Mom's Christmas is, it's a film that basically focuses on the same three characters from before, and they're basically having to deal with the challenges of putting together the perfect Christmas holiday, along with having to deal with their difficult mothers. Again, you have Cheryl Hines, who plays Kristen Bell's mother, who is a little bit overbearing, protective, and always wants to be up in her face. You have Susan Sarandon, who is basically the loner mom who always leaves Kathryn Hahn's character to kind of fend for herself and only comes around when she needs money. And then you have Baranski, basically, who is Mila Kunis's mom, and in a way she basically is shrill and always overbearing as well, but she takes it to a whole nother level where she basically criticizes every single thing that Mila Kunis's character does, to the point where she almost feels like she can't live up to the bar that her mom has basically set for her. So I guess I got through watching the film literally like 30-45 minutes ago, and I like it. I like it. Now, I'm not going to sit here and drag out this review and tell you every little plot point, every little detail. This isn't really an overcomplicated movie. It really isn't. This movie is straightforward. It's basically Bad Moms, the first one, which, spoiler alert if you haven't seen the first one, because I might say a few things to spoil the first one, which I'm going to try to keep that non-spoilers as well. But if you saw the first Bad Moms, you saw that they all ended up banding together, and they ultimately said that they're going to accept being bad moms. They're going to come to terms with it. Well, they basically do the same thing in this film, except this is a Christmas setting. And again, you have Mila Kunis, Kristen Bell, and Kathryn Hahn, and they have to deal with their overbearing mothers. You have Miss Baranski, who's playing Mila Kunis's mother. You have Cheryl Hines, wants to be perfect, is always criticizing every single thing that you do. Maybe that's your mother, or maybe you're like Kristen Bell, and her mother is basically overprotective. She's always up in her face. She's always sitting there and being under her and smothering her to the point where she feels like she can't breathe. Maybe your mother's like that, or maybe you're like Kathryn Hahn's mother of Susan Sarandon, who is basically a loner. She isn't around that much. She's basically in and out all the time of your life, and so you don't really get to spend that quality time with her like you would even into your adulthood years, and you only see them when they need something from you, essentially. Me personally, I think you could have taken the whole Christmas aspect out of this and you still would have had a Bad Moms sequel. Basically, this movie isn't really about Christmas. Christmas is basically just a backdrop for this film. When I really look at the core of this movie, it's talking about the three respective characters and their relationships with their mothers, and how they all differ and how they all come to head during this holiday. You could have did Thanksgiving, you could have did New Year's Eve, you could have did a whole slew of holidays. So I don't think the whole Christmas aspect was necessarily needed in this film, but at the end of the day, you still have the core relationship between these six characters and how they all relate to each other as well. And again, you might be in one of those three categories where your mother is basically like that and makes your life a living hell when it comes to Christmas, basically. But in terms of the actual story itself, some would call it lazy, and, you know, some would say that it was just more focused on being raunchy and obscene. And I will say this is a little bit more raunchy and risque than the first one. I mean, they were dropping F-bombs left and right. They earned that R rating. They were really going for it. Whereas in the first Bad Moms movie, they dropped F-bombs where they were necessary, and it was still raunchy, but not as raunchy as this one. This one seemed to kind of kick everything up a notch. You know, as they say with most sequels, you basically just have to kick things up another level basically when you have sequels, because you're like, okay, you want to give the audience something to look forward to if they're going to come back and watch your sequel. And so, like I said, the story-wise, you could have taken the whole Christmas thing out of it, and you still would have had a pretty solid movie again. It was a little over the top with the raunchy jokes and everything, but it still kind of worked out at the end of the day. I still feel like character-wise, Mila Kunis, Kristen Bell, and Kathryn Hahn, they all still have that amazing chemistry. I can feel like these ladies would actually hang out in real life. They carried the magic over from the first Bad Moms, and how all of them come from different walks of life, but at the end of the day, they all have something in common. They're bad moms, or they're trying not to be bad moms, but they're trying to basically do the best they can for their kids in the current situation that they're in. Getting to some of the, again, other characters, we had returning members of Jay Hernandez as Jesse Harkness. Again, he is basically Amy Mitchell's boyfriend now. You also had Emjay Anthony coming back as Dylan Mitchell. Again, I thought he's basically, they just plucked him out of Bad Moms and put him in this. The thing he's really been in is the Krampus movie, which came out like in 2000 and I want to say like 14 maybe, which he basically was the main protagonist for that film, and yeah, he did a pretty solid job, I would think. Oona Laurence is someone you should also be on the lookout for. She played the character of Jane Mitchell. If you want to see more of her, then you can go check out Bad Moms. She's also been in another slew of films. But the other one that she came out in, which I think she actually killed her performance, is in The Beguiled, the remake version with Colin Farrell and Kirsten Dunst. But in terms of the movie in general, I laughed a lot. I thought the jokes were on point. Some of them were hit or miss. There were a few times where I laughed, but the audience around me didn't laugh, and so I was like, okay, maybe there's something that they didn't get that I did get, or vice versa. But I will say I don't think this was as funny as the first Bad Moms, which is unfortunate because, again, the sequel had a lot going for it, but I ultimately think it wasn't as good as the original Bad Moms. Again, I felt like they tried to kick it up a notch by adding in these 3 new characters, which is fine. They tried to throw the whole Christmas aspect in there, which I feel like they ultimately ended up losing the point they tried to set up in the beginning, which I can see how some would call this lazy story writing, because again, you start off talking about how they're underappreciated and overburdened moms and how they're trying to deal with Christmas, but you kind of lose that once you get towards the later half of the film, which is kind of unfortunate. But in terms of the movie, I do recommend you guys check it out, especially if you like the first Bad Moms. I don't feel bad sending you out to the theater. But in terms of a score, I am ultimately gonna give a Bad Moms Christmas, I'm gonna go with 6 out of 10. Again, I thought this was a solid comedy. Again, the jokes landed when they needed to land. The chemistry between all our lead characters, it seemed to work, it seemed to fit. Again, the negatives here was the lazy storytelling. I felt like the core of the story got lost towards the end of the film, and it kind of picked up and went in a different direction, which was fine, but I think they should have established that from the get-go and focused more so on the aspect of the mother-daughter relationship, as opposed to just kind of putting Christmas in the forefront and having it in the backdrop. Again, I love the chemistry between Mila Kunis, Kristen Bell, and Kathryn Hahn. Again, I thought they basically carried that over from the first film, which is a plus. But again, ultimately, I think this did fall short, and it wasn't as great as, again, the original Bad Moms. So what do you guys think? Do you plan to go check out Bad Moms Christmas? I highly recommend you do, but if you've seen it already, let me know down in the comment section below what you think of the movie. Please don't spoil anything. Let's keep it non-spoilers for those who have not seen it just yet. As always, thank you so much for checking out this video. Please remember to like, comment, and share this video with a friend, especially someone who's into this type of raunchy comedy and throwing the aspect of Christmas into it. If you're looking for a good early Christmas flick to go check out, then I say go check this one out, or check out Daddy's Home 2, which hopefully my review will be up sometime next week. Thank you as always, and remember, as I always say, to become a savage, stay a savage, and peace out, y'all. Later.